everyone, welcome to a new video, and today I have something a little new for you. I have mentioned a few times now that I would do a sketch video for you guys and kind of talk about how I look at sketches and how I break them down, and just kind of go over with you, maybe try to help you guys a little bit. If you have any questions, I plan to do more videos. I don't really have anything like set for stone. Sorry if my chair is squeaky, by the way. I don't have anything set in stone on how I want to do this, but when I mentioned doing this sketch video, I got a lot of really good comments. So be warned, these videos might get long. I personally like long videos, so if you like long videos, here we go. If you don't like long videos, maybe I can skip to, I will try to add like a little screenshot here or a little statement saying what time you could skip to when I get to work on the actual layout. I do plan to put some of the layout together with you guys to kind of show you. I'm not really sure, like I said, on how I'm going to do this video, so just bear with me on this one. And if you have any questions that you think of throughout the way, please feel free to comment on the bottom, and in the next sketch video I can maybe answer some of those questions. I just picked, this is from January 2019 page maps, and I just screenshot it with my phone and I printed it up. So just no big deal. I print out the PDF sheets and put them in my binder, but this one I wanted you to be able to see up a little bit closer, and I'm sorry that it's not bigger. If I can figure out a way to get it nice and clear and bigger, I will try to do that for you guys, but I wanted you to see this up close at first. So this one I'm going to follow quite a bit like the way that the sketch is with the photos. I have 3 photos here, and they're of my son, and he is working on making a Lego divider. So we have all these Legos on the ground, and he was going to divide the little pieces out, and he just comes up with the best. Oh, and I'm sorry, I gotta realize that you guys can't see it all because you're zoomed in. So sorry about that. I have these photos, and he comes up with a lot of creations. I've been using this Little Dude collection by Simple Stories. So I had it out. I thought I would go ahead and use that. And actually, I set the pile here by me, and when I set the pile here, I basically saw that this one here, smart is the new cool. And I thought, hey, I'm not sure how it will work with the title, but this very well could go in that middle section there. I just happened to randomly see that. So I don't know if that's what I will do or not. But so these photos I will cut down to 3 by 4. As you can see, there is a lot of space in the background that doesn't need to be in the picture. And this sketch calls for 3 by 4 photos. So this one, like I said, I will follow fairly closely to it. And my plan is to do this video, kind of talk you through how I work the sizes of the papers out. And then in the next video, I will show you how I can turn this into a double page. So I will take this sketch and make it a double page and kind of show you. This sketch is a little more on the simpler side. I'm obviously not going to do this cluster in the jar, a cluster of flowers in the jar. It doesn't go with my pictures of flowers. I mean, I could if I wanted to. I have no problem putting flowers on a boy page, but I don't have any flowers in this collection, so I will come up with something else. And maybe I won't even end up putting my cluster there. I haven't decided yet. So I might change the title card around a little bit. Obviously, the title, I don't know. Let's talk about that when we get to that. So I have the 3 photos, and I'm going to cut those down to 3 by 4. Now, when I'm looking at a sketch like this, and what I do is I kind of eyeball it. I will make sure, if you can see on the very left-hand side that there's like a little bit of paper coming off, I probably won't do that. I will probably just line my photo up to the very edge, so that wouldn't even basically be, so it would basically come to here, the end of my layout, if that makes sense. You could totally leave that there. I think it would add some interest. It would be cute, but however, just knowing me, I will probably, sorry if you can hear my cat scratching around in the background. I just think it would look better maybe to the edge. So that's one thing I would look at and think right away. I don't really when I look at sketches, a lot of times I look for the inspiration of the photo placement. With the scrapbook generation sketches, that has a lot to do with the paper placement also. So there's a few different ways I look at sketches. One is photo placement, number of photos, and photo placement I will put together in one. If they, like this, I had 3 photos, so I looked for one with 3 photos. 2 is paper placement. If I like where the papers go, if it was only halfway with papers, I might not like it as much. So I look at the paper placement. Sometimes I look at both, if I like the way that both flow together. It really all depends, and it can change anytime. I just kind of flip through, and I don't take too much time with sketches. Once I grab or see something that really grabs me, I will... sorry about that. Once I see something that really grabs me, I will go for it. I'm not going to worry about spending 10 more minutes finding another sketch that could work just as well. On occasion, I will maybe glance through if I'm a little doubtful and I'm like, if I don't feel completely inspired. A lot of times if I see a sketch, I will know, oh yeah, okay, I'm totally inspired, let's go do it. So it doesn't usually take me that long to do. Like for example, this one, I knew I had the 3 photos. I actually went back and forth because, you know, I'm working on this Simple Stories Little Dude. I also have another collection out, and I thought maybe I would do it with that one. That's the Bella Boulevard Wish Big Collection. But I was trying to find a simpler sketch for you guys, and one that I would be inspired by, and one that I had photos to go with really closely. So I went ahead and I just did this one. So when I will look at this one, I look at the photos, and I like the photos. So now I'm thinking, okay, I need to pick out some papers. They have a pattern paper here. They have kind of a striped pattern paper at the top, kind of another pattern paper with maybe possibly stripes. A lot of times I don't pay attention to what they have in page maps. I will pay attention to the stripes with Scrapbook Generation, and that's going to be another video. That's another video I'm going to do. I'm waiting for a free sketch to come out from them. They're having an online crop from their Scrap Squad group on Facebook, which is a really fun group to be a part of. So if you're interested, please look that up. They will have crops every once in a while and let free sketches and for the crop. But I'm not going to go into all that because I'll talk about them forever because I really like Scrapbook Generation. But so when it comes to Scrapbook Generation, I will pay attention to maybe their designs of papers. A lot of time, mostly the stripe, because a lot of times they just have different colors of gray. Page Maps usually has a lot of different designs on their pattern paper for you to use. Like this border down here, I might use a border, but it might not necessarily be a scallopy frou-frou one like this one is. So I probably wouldn't use that kind of border. But I may take the fact of using a border sticker there, or a border strip, or I may use a border punch. Anyways, I might draw inspiration from that border being there. Okay, so let's go through and let's pick. We know we have 3 photos at 3x4 size. So now I know I need at least 2 different big pattern papers. For this stripe up here, I personally don't like how dark it is compared to the papers down here. But again, you do not have to use a crazy striped weird paper like that one. You can use anything. So I would probably put something along the top of there. We will see what I have when I go through it, but I would probably make it something smaller and lighter. I feel like heavier things should go on the bottom of your layouts. That's not a rule, and I break that rule all the time, no problem. It's just sometimes I feel like it looks better. Let's turn this around. See, now to me that almost looks, it looks a little funky obviously because everything's upside down, but to me that might look almost a little bit better. And actually I really like that. So that is another thing I can do, is flip the sketch. So I can do another video maybe where I flip the sketch. So going back to the papers. To choose the size, now Scrapbook Generation usually has what size to cut your papers at, but Page Maps doesn't. So how I decide that I want to, what size I want to cut the pictures to, or the photos to, again, the pattern papers to, or the papers, I will kind of go off of what the photo size is. So here you have a photo that is, let me move these for just a minute. Here I have a photo that is 3 by 4 inches, and it's 4 inches tall. So if you look again on this side, and let me zoom in a little bit more for this side. Let me get that in the screen. Out just a little bit. Oops, sorry. Okay, right there. That looks good. If you look at the height of this photo here, it's 4 inches. If you were to move this box up, see how my fingers, I kind of keep them the same distance up to this pattern paper? It looks like it would be about 4 inches too. So I would probably cut that anywhere between 4 to 5. And if I wanted to go bigger, maybe even 6. But that is one way that I really tell, or I decide what size to cut my pattern papers, is I look at the photos. If this was a 5 by 7 and it was 7 inches tall and I moved it up, I would know, oh, that pattern paper isn't 7 inches. It's about a few inches smaller. So maybe, again, 5 inches. So that is how I determine the size of the pattern paper. Same thing here. We have this pattern paper. Now, because I won't be doing this background, I will still cut them to that size just to show you guys. But again, I would kind of look at the size of the photo, the 3 by 4, so it's 4 inches tall, move my fingers down, and I usually just eyeball this. I don't usually use my fingers. Sometimes I might. But you can tell when I move my fingers down from that 4 inches that it's a little bit smaller. So I might go 3.5 to 3. So maybe I would do, so this one looks bigger. So maybe I would do, let's go 3.5 on the bottom and 4.5 on the top row. So what would that be? 3.5 plus 4.5, 8. So then I kind of look, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Does that kind of equal out? And so there's that much space on the both? Yeah, it probably does. So in that case, I would go ahead, and then for this one here, since I'm not really sure, I would probably do a good 1 inch or I would probably do 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch on that one. But I would definitely cut these first 2 papers first. Just because once you have them laying on the layout, then you can kind of guess and choose what size you want. If you want to follow a sketch exactly the way they have it, that's totally fine. I very rarely do that. Actually, sometimes I do, but not all the time. So now that we have and I'll show you this every video, I will show you how I determine, and that is basically what I do. If the sketch was like this, and I was going this way, it's still same thing. This is about 4 inches, so I would kind of go off of that paper and that paper. So I kind of, when I'm doing sketches, and I hope this makes sense, please let me know if you have any questions, and I can show this as many times as you want. But that's how I determine the size that I would want to cut my pattern paper. And a lot of times that's why I say I don't have an exact size that I cut it, because I might just kind of put it in there about 3 inches and it looks a little bit better scooted to the side, and it's 3 5/8 or 3 6/9, or I don't know. Those are crazy numbers, but you know what I'm trying to say. I hope that you know what I'm trying to say. So let's look here. I guess I could have had my pattern paper picked out first, but I didn't. I really love this pattern. This is one of my favorites. Here's a border strip that it's possible I would use. I'm not too way crazy about that, but we will see. Now in this picture, he's wearing a blue shirt, but the colors are mostly, the blanket is green, the little shield toy that's in front of him was gray, but you won't see a lot of the background. So for this one, I'm not going to worry too much about what colors are in the photo, because I know that you won't see a lot of what's around the photo. Also, I don't really care. Does that make sense? I just want it to look good. I want these 2 pieces to match. So I'm just going to look. Here's a beautiful blue. I really do like that side. I haven't used it yet. That would be a fun one to do also. There's this circle one I haven't used, and the arrows, so I might go with that one. And I'm just going through these papers really quick. Hope you guys don't mind. I guess I could kind of put it. This is too light of blue. I don't want to do that one. I have this orange, but I'm not really feeling the orange. And plus, if I have colors picked out over here that I like more, then I won't pull out a color that I'm kind of so-so on, if that makes any sense. There's also this black one, which isn't too bad, but I think that I like this side better. However, I don't think I like it for this layout. So again, I pick out a few papers that I think would go. And right now, I am just looking for the 2 main pattern papers that go in the background. So I have this circle one that I really like, and I think I'm going to go more towards that one. I really, really like this one. It's one of my favorites. However, I just haven't used the circle one. So there's blue and there's green to go with it. And I could do the circle on top of the arrows too. That actually looks really cute. I'm not totally opposed to that. However, I think I just don't want it to be so busy. So in that case, I will just put my sketch right to the side and I will go, oh, do I like the green a little bit more or do I like the blue a little bit more? And with the photos, actually the blue might go better, but I really like the pop of green. So even though there's not a whole lot of green in the photos, I'm going to go with the green. So I'm going to take these 2. And that's my decision. I don't take too long. Okay, sometimes I do. If you get stuck and you just don't know. The other day, I think was one of the first times in a very long time that I actually had to walk away from a layout. And you will see that in a video. I recorded my monthly celebration video early because May is really busy. So, and I had to walk away from it for a little while. And I do apologize. I'm going to do this here. Are you guys zoomed out all the way now? I think so. So my cutter is going to be a little bit loud. I love this cutter, by the way. I've never got such crisp, clean cuts off of a cutter. And 99% of the time, my cuts are straight. You do have to learn how to hold this down, but it's great. So I won't talk too much about it right now, though, because that's a whole nother video. All right, so I think now the decision is, and I'm just cutting off the branding strips right now, the decision is which one do I want to go on top and which one do I want to go on the bottom. And I don't think it really matters, whatever your preference is. This one kind of has the bigger piece on top and the smaller piece on bottom, which again, I feel like the heavier pieces should go on the bottom and not on the top, but I'm going to break the rules and I'm going to go along with the sketch and have the green be the bottom piece and the top be the busier piece. And what did I say? So let's go. So that's about 4 inches. So that's about 4 inches. So what did I say? 4.5 and 3.5 on the bottom, because that's a little bit smaller than 4 inches. So yeah, so let's cut this one at 4.5. Super simple. Again, I hope my cutter is not completely too noisy. When cutting a paper like this one here, do be careful if you want the arrows. There's little arrows on it if you want them to go horizontally or vertically. On this one, I think maybe I will do vertically. So this one we said about 3.5. Yeah, it's a small enough piece that... Now another thing that I might do is I might use this as that top strip also. So I very well might use this striped piece and this one along the top, use the same pattern as I used along the bottom, because it will really help draw the two together and it will enclose everything, like frame everything on the layout if you have the same color on top as you do the bottom. But for right now, I'm just going to set this aside. I'm going to ink my edges because I am an inker. You guys know that. And I'm going to grab a piece of white cardstock. Again, sorry about my squeaky chair. I should have had all this prepared, but honestly, I wasn't. This is like a rarity video, so I wasn't too sure how this video was going to go. Just get my edges inked, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have my edges inked here, and this is how my pattern papers will go. I guess I could have cut my photos down while you guys were off screen, but that's okay. So in the sketch, they are all 3x4. If you wanted to change it up, you could do 2 4x6, one here, and just put the title above. You could do smaller if you wanted. If you had 4 photos, you could do 1 3x4, 1 3x4, and two 2x3s on top of each other. That is a good way to get another photo in. If you wanted 1 4x6, the title here, and 1 3x4, and just do 2 photos. So many different ways you can do that. And I will do another sketch where I change the amount of photos, definitely. So I'll put that sketch here. But for now, for this first sketch in this series, I am going to do it. And again, sorry, my cutter is noisy, but I'm going to do it according to the size. And again, I really love this cutter. This cutter is great for photos. These are great cutters also because you don't have to buy new blades all the time. I love Fiskars. Love Fiskars. They are one of the best companies. I buy everything I can Fiskars. However, these cutters came along and they were an opportunity to try, and I love them. I used to have the Creative Memories one like this, but I just kind of used it, and I think I cut something with it and it broke, and so I thought I would try this one, and it works just as well. And I also like that this is 6 inches, but again, I'm not going to talk too much about the cutter. Okay, so now that my photos are cut, these two will go along the side, and these don't really have like a sequence that they go in, so I'm not worried about which photo is going to go where. Now here's where we come to the fact that, and I'm going to try to keep everything straight on here for you guys. This is where we would come to, they have this small strip on this side showing, and to me that would throw me off just a hair. So I am going to put my photo, and actually I'm doing it wrong already. If you put the photo back up here, 2 of them go on this side. So instead of leaving that little gap right there, I'm going to put mine to the edge, which also means that I could have cut these papers down even smaller. So being this is 4 inches here, take it down to here, so that we cut it at what, 3.5 inches, so there's about 1/2 inch left there. So if I wanted to go even smaller, I could take off, let's see, about half of this would go down here, so 2 inches. So I could have cut this at 2 inches and just had it going beneath the photos and the journaling block. Or excuse me, the title block. Or, you know, you could put your journaling here and your title here instead of the journaling there and the title there. So, we got that figured out. And same thing with the top one. You could measure out about half of this is about 2 inches since the full thing is 4 inches. And it doesn't matter if you're exact or not. If you're off by 1/4 of an inch, nobody's going to know. Nobody cares. It's what looks good to you. So keep that in mind. So if I moved those 2 inches up, this is about 2 inches, but this was 2 inches, and this is a little bit smaller than 2 inches. So I would go 2.5, maybe 3 inches on that one. Maybe not a full 3. If I did 2.5 on this one, I would do 3 on the top. I hope all that makes sense. And I can, again, maybe in the next one, when I do a double page, I can kind of play along with that. If you would like me to show that again, no problem. But that is how I kind of determine the size. It's obvious that this is about a 3x4 size because these are 3x4s. It would fit in there just perfectly. I think it might be cute actually if there was a journaling block to go in there. And I think this had some 3x4 cut apart cards. I don't know if any of them were oh, you know, I've used a lot of this paper, so I probably used up all the journaling cards, which is totally fine with me. I would rather use the journaling cards than, have them left over. Although if I have them left over, I just use them in my daily life album. And yep, this is about the extent of my leftover 3x4 cards. So if you wanted to do a 3x4 card there and you didn't have any cut apart ones, you could look, do you have 4x4 that you could cut to 3x4. Now here I have this one, and I did this with another layout. This is 4x4, but it wouldn't cut to 3x4 very easily. So what do we do here? And I really like this pattern paper. So let's take a look. Maybe there's a different pattern paper that we could put in there instead. Maybe not. Actually, even the striped one here would be good. And I did mention that red one. Let's cut the red one out real quick just to see what happens if we like that. And like I said, right now it is 4x4, but you can trim these down to 3x4, anything you want. That is one thing that I have learned by watching YouTube videos all through these years is cut up your embellishments. You don't have to use them the way that they are. There was a long time when I never really thought to cut up my embellishments. Who would think that you would need to? But watching all these different YouTubers, and they would take a embellishment, cut it right in half, and make it work for them, instead of being left with that embellishment in your pile because you don't know how to use it. Try cutting it in half, or cutting it down, or cutting it in a circle, or doing anything like that that might try to help you. That is a great way to do embellishments. But I also have cluster videos that I'm going to be posting in the future. Again, I won't go too far with that. And before I cut this down, I could always put it here underneath these other photos to see how it looks. Now, you guys, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I don't usually put my layout together like this. Once I know what's going to go, I glue. It bugs me to have things move around, but I'm doing this for the video for you guys to kind of see different ways that you could use this sketch. So that one is there. It's okay, but I don't know. I don't want this to be my title, and I want my title to be Lego Divider, which I'm going to need to find some alphabets for that. But that's what they have here is the title on the card. And I could add that into the title, but I'm not so sure that I'm too crazy about that. And I don't like the page without something there. If you didn't want anything there, pull the 3 photos together. I actually really like that. Pull the 3 photos together and add your title. If I did this, I would mount my 3 photos. So I haven't completely decided that I'm not going to do this yet because I really kind of like the way that looks. And again, it's just drawing inspiration from the sketch. Now, if I'm going to do this, I would mount it on another color. It's kind of hard to tell with the blue, but I think the blue would look really nice. So here I am. I've started out this sketch, and let's go zoom in. I've started this sketch out, and my plan was to do the 3 photos, 2 over here, 1 over here, title in the center. As I'm playing along with it, I come to the fact, and I play along, I move my photos, and I realize I don't want to do it this way. I want to scoot them in together, and so that is how I'm going to do my photos. So even though I'm doing the rest of the page just like this sketch, I'm still going to, it's going to be different. It's going to be my own. It's going to be the way that I'm inspired to go with this sketch. So I'm going to take a minute, glue these photos down, and I will be back, and hang on. Okay, so I have gone ahead, I've inked my edges, I mounted my photos on the blue piece of paper. I didn't glue these down, but I did glue the background pattern papers because we knew that that's how we wanted them to go. So looking at the sketch again, another thing to keep in mind is how much distance is from the bottom to the bottom of the first pattern paper and from the top to the top of the first pattern paper. So you can see there's not a whole lot less space up here, but there is a little bit more down there than there is up here. I don't usually worry too much about that because whether your layout's all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom, you could do that with any of them. So if you wanted to take this sketch and move it all the way to the top, awesome, do it. You can move it all the way to the bottom. It would be really cute. Again, like I said, we will talk more about flipping sketches around. That would be really awesome. So but I didn't glue this down so that you could kind of see different ways you could do this. So we've taken the inspiration from the sketch, and I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to leave it on the screen. I'm going to pull my layout down out of the screen just a little bit so you can see both here. But we have this sketch, and let me move everything over just a hair more. Okay. So we have this sketch, and from it we've drawn the inspiration to have 2 main pattern papers in the back, 3 3x4 photos going across. In this case, I chose to combine my 3 3x4 photos. Now they have their 3x4 photos going along basically in the middle of these 2 pattern papers. However, you could have them to the side if you wanted. That would be really cute. Maybe a title, journaling, embellishments over on this side. You could do it to the right hand side. Same thing, again, really cute. You could have another little block here, which I actually really like the thought of, and maybe doing the journaling here. Although this does call for a journaling block down below. You could do the journaling block down below. I originally was thinking I would do it more in the middle, but I'm thinking now the more I play with it. Also, I'm keeping in mind the fact that he is facing to the left in these photos, so I might want to keep the photos more to the right hand side. But you could move it down. That would be a lot of fun. You could put it all the way at the very top if you wanted. I would struggle with this part. I would want to keep it a little bit closer at least. And I think it looks best if it's overlapping it at least by a little ways. You could do it all the way to the bottom. That would be fun too. So when you take a sketch, look at what the sketch has to offer you. And once you start, don't be afraid to go off of the sketch. You can follow the sketch exactly if you'd like, or you can play around and move your photos. You can get the main base of the pattern papers down and then move the photos, or you could keep the photos exactly like it has in the sketch. Another fun thing to do would be maybe have this blue pattern paper go span the entire width here and still divide your photos like they have in the sketch, but have it another pattern paper in the back. So for this one, I think, and on this one, I might actually leave a little space. Since my photos are together now and they're not spanning the entire page, I might actually have a little bit of space on that one, and it doesn't bother me at all. And I kind of like it raised up just a little bit, a little more on the polka dots than I do on the green. So I think I'm probably going to end up putting my photo there. Now, I mentioned that border sticker for the bottom, and I'm going to tell you I don't want to use this sticker, I'm pretty sure. Well, let's pull it off there and let's play with it and see. First of all, I don't mind this border sticker too much, but I hate the fact that it doesn't go the full 12 inches. I don't know why companies do that. I know that they don't fit on the sticker sheets very well, but I don't understand that. There's a lot you could still do with this sticker, but that's one thing that really bugs me. So that's the #1 reason I'm not going to use this. Second of all, I'm not a big fan of the black and cream together. I'm just not a huge fan of black and cream. I like this collection even though it has a lot of cream in it, but it also has a lot of white based, which is why I chose this one. And I actually really like the play word here, and that would maybe make a good title. And I could do Lego divider as a small, like small separate, what do they call that, like a secondary title? The word escapes me now, but so there is also this journaling box, which I had mentioned before, and as much as I love this triangle paper, I have learned not to be a paper saver. I don't know how I overcame that because it took a long time, but I just don't save paper anymore. There's going to be more beautiful paper. And I usually don't cut it with my scissors. I'm not very good at cutting with my scissors, and I just choose not to cut with my scissors. But I think I will fix it up after I cut it out of here. I don't want to cut more of the triangle paper than I have to. So cut that down. And look everywhere for your cutter because your room's a mess, because you are using more than one collection at a time. Before I started YouTube videos, I never used more than one collection at a time. I would finish whatever it was, do however many layouts that I wanted with the collection, do what I wanted to with the collection after I was done with the layouts, and then I put it away. And now that I'm doing videos, I have different things that I want to put up, and so it's all kinds of there's all kinds of collections and patterns everywhere. And in fact, when I do my room tour, I'll have to show you guys. I had to add shelves for all my different works in progress. And in those shelves, I'm going to have to add more shelves. But anyways, I won't go off on that anymore. So I have this cut out. Whether or not I keep the black border on it, I'm not sure. They have their journaling block coming out from under the title block. I don't know if I really care for it hidden behind. It looks like it's missing something. I could cut it in half and have it come out the top too and the bottom. That might be really cute. I'm not sure how crazy I am with it off to the side either. It just looks a little funny. It might be cute to maybe angle them both. Don't be afraid to angle your photos also, or your embellishments, anything like that. I actually don't mind that too much at all. The only thing that I would want to maybe cover up is this little bit of green. If it got covered up, great. I wouldn't make it a full focus, but I would really work on that. Now, since we got the journaling block, I'm not going to glue it down yet since we don't know, but we were originally looking for a border. So like I said, if I had a little piece, I wonder if I have a smaller piece of this green. The green up here would really bring the two together, if you can imagine that in a small. Let me cut it off a little small piece, I don't mind, because I actually did think about adding the green up there. Although I'm kind of wondering, if you did add this green to the top, I would suggest maybe using a smaller strip, much smaller than what they have there. And do you see how that kind of just closes it in? I really like that. At the same time, I'm kind of iffy about it. Meh, not really sure. So I don't really know what I would want to add up there. If I wanted to add anything, you know what would be great too? You could also stamp a border up there. Then there's also this kind of black and gray, or not black and gray, black and cream. There's the yellow. The yellow might look really good. Let's see if I have. I could add a little yellow at the top and a little yellow at the bottom. And in fact, I have a border punch, which would be kind of fun. So maybe I will do, oh, this doesn't do what I thought it did. I thought it, well, it kind of does, but I guess it does a couple different borders. So let's cut this and see what happens. Okay, so I have punched out that border, and I have also cut down another small piece of yellow, and I was going to ink them, and I thought it might even look kind of neat with both the green and the yellow up here. And then when I punched this border, so I have to admit, I thought that this border punch would give you this bottom like attached. I didn't realize it was just the zigzag, but I thought that actually looks kind of neat and adds a little bit of playfulness to this page and it's boys, you know, so this would be probably pretty good. I really like the zigzag, and I'll have to remember, I didn't even know I had that punch. Isn't that great? I mean, I knew that I had it, but I didn't know it did that. So I kind of like the idea of having two different strips up here. I'm thinking, however, though, I don't know if I'm that crazy about the green after saying, but I like it with the yellow in between. So I don't mind it. So feel free to play with your layers. And what I plan to do, since this is kind of a zigzag, it would fit on the bottom perfectly. I mean, that looks super cute. But I kind of like the idea, since I want this page to be playful and fun, since he's just playing with Legos. I like the idea of having it off a little bit. And then since I'm having this off of the pattern paper a little bit, I like this idea of having these kind of off the pattern paper a little bit. And it takes up more space, whereas this is a bigger border, sticker, paper, whatever you want to call it, whatever you think it is. Since this is bigger, this kind of takes up more space above, so it does kind of stick to the sketch a little bit more. However, we're just using two small strips. So it would also be fun maybe to punch, you could punch a blue to go along the bottom. You could even probably punch from the circle paper and to go and have two borders along the bottom. You could also take, let's say this was a different color, you could also line it above there. So there's so many different things you could do with this sketch, but you see that they had this wonky scallop border sketch, on their sketch, I mean. And I'm not going to do that. I'm taking the idea of putting a border there, but I'm not going to do the scalloped border. So here we've taken the sketch. We've moved the photos to make our photo placement. We've moved them to be where we like them, where we're drawing more inspiration from. We mounted them, even though they're not mounted on here, which you could mount it either way, whether you put all your photos together or whether you put them exactly like they have on here. So you have your photos mounted. We added some kind of border to the top of the page, which I'm still a little bit back and forth on the green up here. I thought about also doing a blue, maybe cutting a small strip, but I'm going to wait just to see what my title is and all other embellishments before deciding, because the green does look okay. And then we added a border down here, that same thing they have here, just our own style. So your sketch can make any sketch your style. And like I said, this is going to be a long video. I will do more so that you can see more of how I take sketches and do them in my own style. So another thing, we were playing around with this journal block, and I kind of liked it on the wonky, which I like saying that now that I said that, on the wonky. So here it's on the wonky, and it just seems a little, I don't know, maybe too square. Something about it is just drawing me away from it. But when I was punching out this border, I looked down and I saw this like journaling circle part. It was a 4x4 card, and I'm just showing you here. It came out of the center of here, so I used a circle die to punch it out. It does have a little stitched border now, but I don't care. Nobody's going to see that. I mean, they might see it, but nobody's going to care. And if they do, they'll think I did it on purpose, right? I don't want the word sweet kid, however. So I could either cut that off, and I might as well cut it off because I could use the other side, or I could use the sweet kid. He is a sweet kid. I just don't, it doesn't go with my page. And so then after doing that, I thought that would be tucked under really well. That would tuck under something really well. So here I have my page now. I have the journaling coming out from below like they do. And I like it to the right here because I can add a few more clusters or items here on this side. And then I can somehow maybe do a title here or cluster here. Probably do the title. I can do the title along the bottom. I can add my title wherever I want it. I could even add it over the bottom of the photos here because there's a little bit of space that doesn't matter in those photos. What I want people to focus on is right here. And I wish they were zoomed in, but I did take it with my phone, so you know you can't zoom in very much. At least with my old phone, I couldn't zoom in very well. So that is what I have taken from this sketch. I figure since this video has gotten so long, I will probably just go ahead and finish. Maybe I will go ahead and do a voiceover for the rest of this and kind of show you and talk about what I've decided. So again, we are getting rid of this huge giant cluster. And if you will notice on this sketch, which I just now noticed, there's only one cluster of anything. So don't think that you have to have 3, 5, 9, 12, anything like that. If you want just one nice little cluster, maybe this is a bunny and this is a bunny pattern paper, that would bring it back and forth. Don't be afraid to do whatever works for you. I feel like there's a lot of rules that people have made up for scrapbooking that I just don't feel like you have to have. And I feel like a lot of people follow those rules because the people that made them are huge in the industry, and their rules, I mean, the rule of thirds is just a design rule, period. Nobody made that one up, but there's just other rules that I think people have made up, like things have to be touching or you don't want things touching, and that's not the case. It's whatever looks really good to your eye. So I'm going to put the rest of this video on fast forward and do a voiceover since we got the main element of the sketch down. The next video I will find photos and I will go and I will make this a 2-page sketch and maybe play around. Maybe I'll do 3 for each sketch and I will play around with it. So this one, I'm doing it basically the way the sketch is now. So, and then the next one, I'm going to make it a 2-page or out of the 3, then I'll turn it for you somehow. Maybe I'll make it upside down. Maybe I'll turn it sideways. I haven't exactly decided. It will depend on my photos, but I wanted you guys to see how to play it along with a sketch. And again, if there's a sketch that you're really struggling with, I can't guarantee I can do all sketches. If I got sent a bunch of sketches, that might be a little hard. But if there's questions you have about using a sketch that this didn't help, let me know. I want to help you guys with your sketches, and some people struggle with them. Some people use them really easily. For me, it comes really easily, but at the same time, I don't worry about doing it exactly like the sketch. You can already see here the difference between the two. So questions, comments, let me know anything. If there's something else you'd like me to see, if you want to see more page maps, if there's a different company. I was also thinking Laura Whitaker, maybe her sketches, because there's no sizes of anything on there, so maybe I can do those. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I will go ahead and put you on fast forward now. Thanks for watching, guys. Now I have my layout and everything's pretty much glued down. I've put that journaling circle underneath the photos, as I mentioned I was thinking about doing, and I have also added my title. I must have lost the video of doing the title and all that, but you can see all I did was glue down those letter stickers. And I used 2 different letter stickers to help use up my stash and also for a little bit of interest. That has been a really fun thing for me to do lately. Trying to get out of the mode of just using one type of letter sticker per page. And I'm just adding a few things around different cluster areas. I basically have a cluster underneath the title to the right hand side of the journaling block and up here on the left hand side. And I actually got that Imagine, I think it says, little flag banner piece, and I have to tell you, those are one thing I never can figure out how to use. Those always give me a struggle, so I was happy to get that used. And excuse me, at the same time I'm putting all these clusters together, I am trying to keep in mind adding a piece of chipboard maybe to every cluster and a piece of or a puffy sticker to every cluster, and just maybe spread the colors around a little bit. I tried to add a blue sticker and it just wasn't fitting anywhere, so instead of adding the blue one, since it matched the photo mat, I went ahead and changed it for a red sticker. And I'm just kind of playing around with the rest of this layout. I want it to be real fun and playful, like I had mentioned before, and I think I'm really happy with how it turned out. I love the border sticker along the bottom, and I really enjoyed using this sketch. I hope you guys learned something maybe, or at least enjoyed this process. Like I said, I'm going to do more videos, so I would love to know if you have any questions on anything. If there's different problems you struggle with when using a sketch, I would be happy to help as much as I can. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be the layout. I'm just, again, playing around. I want a star. I'm trying to look for a star that I can put in every cluster. I think that I added a star up in the left-hand side, and I found a star for the right-hand side. That cluster that's below the title makes me struggle a little bit because I really like the way it looks, but when it's just kind of hanging there, it's a little bit harder to get it to look right to me because it's not really sitting on anything. So on the puffy sticker sheet was these really tiny little stars. I mean, they were tiny, tiny stickers, and I really liked the way they looked, so I added those around. But you're going to see in the end I wanted to add some enamel dots, and I actually went ahead and glued down a bunch of yellow enamel dots, but I end up changing them, and you will see in the end photos here that I made a yellow, a blue, and a red enamel dot in each cluster. So I'm just going to add the date, and then I'm going to do my journaling off camera, and you can see in the close-up photos here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I know I've said it multiple times, but let me know if you have any questions, comments, anything below. I love knowing what my readers, or not my readers, my viewers like to see. So let me know. I love how this layout turned out, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!